Hi everyone, today I wanted to do a video to teach you how to make these three Mickey and Minnie designs from images that you can find on Google. And so as always, if you are using trademarked images, you want to make sure that you are using them for personal use only. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and start with this Mickey in the upper left-hand corner. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Google. And all I've done is I have searched for Mickey head clip art, black and white. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one right here. I am going to right click it and save the image as. And once I am done with that, I can go ahead and open up Design Space. I'm going to go to Upload, then Upload Image. I'll browse my computer and find the image that I just saved. Anytime I upload an image, by default, I click on Complex. I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. And once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click the background. And you'll notice that if I preview this, I'm going to enlarge it so that you can see it. You'll see that there are some fuzzy dots around the image. And so what I'm going to do in order to fix that is after I click on Complex, I'm going to click Continue. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see where it says Advanced Options. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I have found for any black and white image, you can reduce your colors to 2. And then I'm going to change my color tolerance to 60. And I'm going to delete the background. And this time when I preview it, you can see that there are no fuzzy dots. And I'm going to go ahead and click Continue. I'm going to save this as a cut image. And then I'm going to upload it into Design Space. Once I've done that, I'm going to click on it and insert it into my canvas. And I'll resize it so that you can see it. And just a personal preference, I'm going to click this box right here and get rid of the grid lines. And so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and also upload some bats that I found online just using the same process. I'm going to insert them into my canvas. I'm going to lock this lock right here. And then I'm going to change the size down to 4 inches just so it's not taking up the whole screen. And then I'm going to go ahead and change the bat to orange. And then I'm going to place it over my Mickey head and resize it. And then what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it a few times. And I'll just place these bats around the Mickey head. And there's no, right or wrong way to do it. Just kind of putting them in any order just for the sake of the video. And so once you have, a design that you like, something you can do if you want to make sure that these bats right here are symmetrical with this side right here, you can click on the top bat, hold down your shift key and select those 3, and then you can go ahead and click duplicate. And once you've done that, you can go to flip and then flip horizontal, and you'll have your bats in the same spot. And then something else you can do, you can group those bats and group these 3 bats. So I'm going to click on the top one, hold down the shift key and click group. And then I'm going to click the one on the left side, click the one on the right side by holding down the shift key. And then I'm just going to align the bottom. And so now those bats are in the exact same spot. So once you have a design that you like, what I'll do is you can go ahead and hide your Mickey head, and you can attach all of these. That way when you go to make it, you'll see that your bats are in the same configuration as they were on the canvas. Something else you can also do is, let's say you have an orange shirt that you're going to be putting this Mickey head on and you want to save some vinyl. If you were to click everything and you were to try to slice it, slice is not an option. And so what you want to do instead is, I'm going to go ahead and hide my Mickey head. I'm going to select all of the bats just by dragging a box, and I'm going to click weld. And so what will happen now is, when I unhide my Mickey head and I select everything, you'll see that slice is now an option. So you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So when I had all of the individual bats, each one was considered a layer. And now you can see all of these bats are considered 1 layer. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate these bats real quick, just to kind of show you both options that you can do. So I'm going to create a box over my Mickey head and bats, and I'm going to slice them out. And so I can go ahead and drag the bats away from the Mickey head. And you'll see that if you are placing this on an orange shirt, that orange would show through and you would not need to use orange vinyl. Something else you can also do is, I'm going to create a text box, and I have downloaded and installed a font called Waltograph from dafont.com. And so I'm just going to type out the name Mickey. I'm going to change this to a different colored font color. And so I'm going to go ahead and change this to yellow. And then I'll just resize it. And I will unhide the bats just so you can kind of see the final product. Obviously, if you wanted to use the vinyl, you would not need to slice the bats out of the Mickey head. And so that is the first Mickey head. What I'm going to do is create the second Mickey head, or excuse me, Minnie head. And so I have gone to Google and I've searched for Minnie head, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to right click and save the image as, and then I'm going to upload it into Design Space. And again, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to upload it as a complex image. I'm going to go to my advanced options, change the top number to 2, the bottom number to 60, and this time I'm going to delete the background as well as the inside of the mini bow. And so I'm going to go ahead and click continue, save this as a cut image, and insert it into my canvas. I'm then going to resize the image. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to duplicate the image, and I'm going to hide the top one. I'm going to then take this one and click on it, and you'll see when I do that, contour lights up. I'm going to go ahead and click on contour, and then anytime you go into contour, you want to click hide all contours. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on everything that I want to be a specific color. So since I want the bow to be orange, I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And before I leave, I'm going to click this top box, and I'm going to go ahead and X out. And you'll see that I'm only left with the bow. So I can go ahead and change this to orange. And then I can unhide my Minnie head. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert in a bat image as well as the Disney castle into the canvas. And I'm going to go ahead and resize those. And so when I do that, I'm just not picking any specific size, just small enough so that y'all can see it on the screen. and then I can resize as needed. And so in order for you to see this, I'm going to go ahead and change the castle to white, as well as the bats to white. And I'm going to go ahead and place the castle on the Minnie head where I would like. And then I'll do the same with the bats. So I'm just going to go ahead and resize them and duplicate. And then of course you could do the same thing that we did earlier. And you can go ahead and duplicate all of these bats. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the top one, hold down the shift key, and I'm going to duplicate. And then I'm going to take these bats and I'm going to flip them horizontally. That way they're in the same on the right and the left side. And so then I'm going to go ahead and while that's highlighted, group those together. I'm also going to click on the top bat on the right side, hold down the shift key and click all of the bats. And then I'm going to group those together. And so now that I have both of them grouped, I can hold down the shift key while clicking both of them. And then align the bottom so that they are completely symmetrical. And then I'm going to go ahead and slice these, but as before, I need to first go ahead and I'm going to hide my Minnie head as well as the orange bow. And then I'm going to go ahead and select all of this and I'm going to weld it together. And unhide my Minnie head as well as the bow. And so if I wanted to slice this, I could. I would just need to move the bow out of the way because as I said before, you can only slice 2 layers at a time. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on it and then move my keyboard arrows to move it over. And you wouldn't necessarily need to slice if you wanted to use white vinyl. However, I'm going to go ahead and slice just to show you. I'm going to click slice and it would do the same thing. Once it's done slicing, I can go ahead and move all of my bats and castle over and then just delete the excess. And so really quick, I'm going to show you how to make the dots for the bow. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to shapes. I'm going to go to circle. And then I'm going to go ahead and just change this to a white circle. And I'll resize it. And so I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm just going to place the dots on the bow, just on the right hand side where I like them. And so let's say this is the design that I like. I'm going to go ahead and hold the top one, hold down the shift key, select all of them, and duplicate. And once that's done duplicating, I can then flip it horizontally and place it on the other side. And then I'm going to go ahead and group all of those dots together. I'm going to group these together just by selecting the top one, holding down the shift key and clicking all of them and then group them. And then once you have both of your sets of dots grouped, you can hold down the shift key, select both, go to align, and then you can align the bottom so that they are symmetrical. And so again, you can slice that out. You would just need to get rid of the other layers. So you're going to go ahead and delete the mini head, and then I'm going to go ahead and select all. And before I do that, I actually need to hide my mini bow. And then I'm going to select all and weld those together. And then I can unhide my mini bow, select all, and then click slice. And so now all of my holes are going to be in my bow, just as if I had taken a cookie cutter and put it on top of dough. And so that's it for the second design. And so for the last one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Google, and you can see that I have searched for pumpkin clip art black and white. I found one that I liked, and it was this one right here. So I'm going to go back to Design Space, and I'm just going to go ahead and upload that into the canvas. I'm going to turn off my grid lines and also resize this. And I need to go ahead and make sure that that's locked, and then I'll resize it back down to 5 inches. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Shapes, and I'm going to click on Circle. And I'm going to go ahead and resize this. And then I'm going to take my pumpkin, and I'm just going to go ahead and in the upper right hand corner, you'll see the arrow, so I can rotate it. Go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send this pumpkin to the front. So if I go to Arrange and then Send to Front, you'll see that it is now at the front of the design. And so once I have this how I like it, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate. And then I'm going to flip it horizontally. I'm going to place it on the other side. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the pumpkin on the left-hand side. I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click on the pumpkin on the right, go to go to Align, and then I'm going to align the bottom. And then I'm going to group those together. So now I'm going to click on the circle, hold down the Shift key, click on a pumpkin, and I'm going to go to Align again, and then center horizontally. And then now I have perfectly placed pumpkins. And so the next thing I want to do is I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to click Weld. And before I do that, the reason is so that rather than it being 3 different images, it's now going to become one image. And you'll notice that the color of the pumpkin changed to gray. So it's going to change to your most dominant color. And so I can go ahead, and if I want, I can switch that back to black. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up a text box, and I can type out the name Minnie. And if you wanted, you could go ahead and you could slice it out of the pumpkin. You could also just have it as vinyl that you layer on top. I'm going to go ahead and change this to orange. And then if you wanted, you could also slice out little pumpkins throughout the head, whatever you wanted to do. So hopefully this video has helped you learn a little bit more about Cricut Design Space and how to create your own designs. As always, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below, and I will get back to you shortly. Thank you. Have a good night.